High Essence is cool. I'll wait till a few more people get in here before I start talking. If you have any questions before that, let me know. I am wonderful. How are you? So this is my first time doing a live. If I mess up, I'll figure it out for the next live. But anyway, I'm great. How are you? Hi, Sharon. Good morning. So you guys, I'm doing this on my iPad. I really want to do it on my computer, but I didn't. I do like a pre-test, and my computer looks real hazy. So I decided I'll do it on my iPad, and it'll look better for the next live. So this is my first live, yay! Um, and I want to talk to you guys in reference to the challenge, and let's kind of go through some questions I've been asked. I put a questionnaire out on some things you guys may want me to cover. Good morning, Chandra. Some things you guys want me to cover, and we can talk about that. And then we can talk about kind of how I see this going and give you tips. So, in reference to my knowledge of weight loss, so I used to, I have to put my glasses on to actually read some of the comments because, again, I'm on my iPad. So, if I don't get to you, it's literally because I don't see you immediately. But people are coming in. Good morning, everybody. One of the things that I've done in my history is just train people in reference to weight loss. I'm not a dietitian, but I've done a lot of studying in reference to weight loss. I've lost weight and gained weight multiple times, and I'll tell you why I gained weight. And I kind of tried to be really honest and open about that. Good morning, you guys. Come on in and let's talk about it. But anyway, I tried to be really honest and open in reference to, hold on a second, let me see. Okay, so I wanted to make the messages visible. Anyway, so I wanted to be really open and honest about the reasons that I gain weight and lose weight. And I will tell you my weakness, and I have one weakness, and I will talk about that in a minute when more people come in. So I want to go over some of the questions specifically that I was asked and try to figure out how I can help in this next 12 weeks to help you guys get to where you need to be in reference to your weight loss and the weight loss challenge. So, one of the things, first of all, I told you guys my age in reference to I am 55 years old. I'm not ashamed of that. I just don't want to look it, right? I want to be Instagram fine. That is my plan. I think I'm going to title this 12-week challenge Instagram fine just because I want to do it. But anyway, with that said, whatever your weight loss goals are, I can give you some tips on how to do that. And again, I've worked for years in helping people lose weight. I had another career as well, but helping people lose weight and helping people maintain. My issue is not losing weight. My issue is when things go crazy, like the snowstorm in Texas or me relocating to another city, being able to have access to the proper foods. And that might be your issue too. And a lot of people, what I will say, have issues with emotional eating. Like, things get really stressful, so they eat, or that, life happens, so they eat. So a lot of people have issues with that. And I'm going to give you some ideas and some tips on how to avoid that or navigate through that. And then I will tell you that I'm at the same point of navigating through it. When I tell you I can literally go from 115 to 20 pounds to 160, 70 pounds within, let's say, 2 months, which is a huge weight gain. And it really has nothing to do with necessarily my eating by itself. Absolutely, I'm taking food in to do it, but it has nothing to do with it by itself. It has to do with stress and all that stuff. So I will talk about that briefly. My goal is to try to have this, the online live, maybe an hour-ish. so we can talk about that. And then during the week, if there's any other questions that you have for me, just ask in reference to the online. I'll post the online so I can kind of address that if there are immediate questions, and if not, I'll deal with it in the next video. So I'm gonna talk about some of the questions that I've been asked, tell you kind of what I'm doing right now, and I talked about that briefly. So right now I am actually on I'm not even on a keto diet. I am literally cutting off carbs for the most part, and fats, there are a lot of healthy fats out there. I'm cutting off carbs and fats. What I'm doing is forcing my body to use my body fat as energy. So this is not a long-term sustainable diet. This is just to get you where you need to be, and then you need to transition into something else. And I will talk about that, right? So for me, I started just protein. I want to say on Monday. I started on Monday. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm hangry now, which is a combination of hungry and angry, right? I could just, I've got to get over the cravings. So one of the questions that I've been asking, this is why I'm doing this particular kickoff to my diet, is how do you get rid of the sugar cravings? So without being too technical in reference to sugar cravings, a lot of sugar cravings are caused by higher insulin levels. You eat foods that are higher in carbs, which ultimately in your body turn to sugar, which ultimately in your body turn to fat. And most people, when they say that people are addicted to sugar, they don't be specific in reference to people are addicted to carbs, right? What happens is carbs in your body turns to sugar, sugar turns to fat, and hence most Americans gain a lot of fat, especially as you get older. And I'll talk about that because I'm in those years. So if let's say, when people think of sugar, they think of just sugar by itself. I'm talking about starchy carbs, rice, potatoes, those kinds of things. And mind you, you can eat all that in moderation. But right now, I'm just talking about the weight loss challenge, right? When you eat those foods and then you don't burn off those foods ultimately turn to sugar when they get into your body, which causes your insulin levels to rise, which makes you want more sugar, which ultimately then turns to fat. Hence my problem. My problem is sweet wine. I've always said that. I've always been very honest in reference to that. If you ever see me bigger than, a size, let's say 4, I'm drinking wine. If I tell you I'm not, I'm lying. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now, I am lying. My thing is sweet wines, and when I drink sweet wines, they of course are sugar, and then they turn to fat. And ultimately that's what happens. The reason I can honestly lose weight the way I can lose weight and look very toned is because of the way I gain that weight. Is when I cut off those sugars, that weight comes off quickly. So that's what I wanted us to do in this 12-week challenge. But the difference is I want us to change our mindset when we get off this 12-week challenge as to what am I going to do next. Because weight loss is not a simple, I lost, 20, 30 pounds in 12 weeks, so I'm good and I'll stay this size. That's not it. It is an ongoing, everyday balance. It is consistency. And that does not mean that what you gave up in the 12 weeks, you can't get back. You just have to get it back in moderation and kind of work on that consistency. So I'm going to answer some of the questions I was asked in reference to the post that I did earlier. I will look again. The ones that are coming in late, I'm actually doing this live on my iPad. Next week I'll do it on my computer so I can actually see the comments and keep them up there so I can comment on an ongoing basis with you guys. So I see them, but I only see them periodically, and I'm assuming that's because it's on my iPad. So I'm going to talk about really quickly the questions that I've already been asked and give suggestions on that, and then give you suggestions on like when to weigh yourself, and so you won't get stressed, and I will tell you it's not every day. So I want to talk to you guys about that a little bit, and then if you have questions about like how to exercise and things of that nature, let me know. And I will give you suggestions for we get on this call, get off this call or this live in reference to that as well. So I'm going to go through some of the questions that I've been asked already. Hold on a second. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of this information with you real quick, some of the questions that I have been asked. And then after that, if you have any other questions, I'm going to, hopefully they'll pop up and I'll see them, I'll answer them. And then we'll talk about like next week live, which might be on a different day because my daughter's having a baby shower next Saturday. And, I'll be there first time grandma. That's just, it is what it is. So we'll schedule a time in reference to being able to do the live because I'm consistent in reference to doing the live as well. So one of the things I was asked is, how do you kick sugar cravings? The only way that you can kick sugar cravings, and this is going to hurt your feelings because diets are tough, is to get rid of the sugar. So I talked briefly about the fact that once you take sugar in your body, and again, I don't mean like cane sugar, or whatever. And that's part of it too. But once you take carbs, so those starchy carbs that turn into sugar in your body, it makes your body want other sugars or other carbs, whatever. It ultimately all turns into sugar in your body and then ultimately turns into fat if you're not burning it off. And most of us don't. The only way I know to kick it, and that's what I'm doing right now, because again, wine is my weakness. That is pure sugar. It turns into sugar. If you are a wine drinker, if you're a beer drinker, if you're an alcohol drinker, one of the things that happens as far as when you get the bigger stomachs is because your body's not processing that. So your fat is literally, or your liver's not processing it. So your fat is literally sitting on your stomach. Yes, it'll distribute after a while in all parts of your body, but that's ultimately what happens. So if you have a sugar craving, it doesn't have to be wine, it doesn't have to be alcohol at all, but if you have like a craving for sugar, the only way I know to break that craving is to get off the sugars. And getting off the sugars is hard. Most people don't realize that we are addicted to sugar. Most people in the US are addicted to sugar. So getting off it is hard. Once you get off of it, it's easier to maintain, but you got to break those cravings first. So the times that I've actually gotten off sugar, it took me about 5 or 6 days. I've been told 2 or 3, but I'm gonna just tell you what I've experienced, right? And I've read 2 or 3, but for me, it took about 5 or 6 hard days to no longer crave sugar. Now, there's a difference between what you crave and habit. So I could crave or no longer crave sugar, but my habit might be to go in and get something sweet, right? And a lot of people eat because they're bored. So you go and you get, I don't know, your chips, your, I don't know, what is it? Sweet rolls, even wine, or whatever the situation is, because that is habit or because you are bored. So, perfect example. A long time ago, I used to really be into NBA games. Not like I'm not into them now, but I used to just be crazy about watching the finals. And for me, I could not watch the finals without a glass of wine in my hand. It just did not feel normal. I just didn't get it, I don't know why. It just felt like that's what's supposed to happen. And it took me to actually say, okay, so I need to get away from all the sweets and the sugar to realize I can enjoy the game without it. But it was habit. It was a habit that the game's coming on, let me pick up some wine, and that's kind of what you do. Or the game's coming on, let me pick up some chips, that's kind of what you do. There are other things you can eat that don't rise your insulin levels, that don't cause your insulin levels to get higher, to make you want to crave other sugars when you're doing those things, but out of habit, you do them. So once I broke that particular habit in reference to the games, now I didn't break the wine habit, but I'm working on that. But once I broke that particular habit, I could watch the games with no problem, but I did not realize until I actually did it that it was habit that I was doing. So most people eat out of habit. I'm bored, let me go get something to eat. I think that's why so many people gain weight during COVID. You're sitting at the house, the world shut down, you're at the house, so, I'm bored, I don't watch every TV show in the world, let me go grab something to eat. Not that you're hungry. So, on this challenge, I'm going to challenge you to really take stock of what you're taking in because most people don't, me included, to take stock of what you're actually eating during the daytime. I got one comment in reference to I'm a grazer. The problem with a grazer is you're not taking account of all your calories during the day. Whether you sit down in the table or not, one of the jokes, I used to compete as far as in physique competitions and things of that nature, and I still love it. But I used to compete in that, and when I competed, I was like, oh, so I need some kind of snacks. And my coach at the time said, no, you don't. What do you need? What do you need snacks for? It's just habit. And I'm gonna tell you, when I wanted to argue him down in reference to that, I finally said, okay, I'm gonna eat snacks. I'm gonna die. I don't know about other people, but I need to eat something. So he's like, okay, so if you need to eat something, why don't you like those beef jerkies? You can buy beef jerky that is low sodium because, of course, we don't want our blood pressure to get up high. But he's like, why don't you buy like little strips of beef jerky? You can get like egg whites, things that you can munch on if you feel like you need to eat something. It's high protein, it's healthy, and it won't raise your insulin levels. The problem is that food was not as fun. So I got it, and I actually didn't want it once I got it. So it took a minute for me to realize. So I hope. Okay, so I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I hope you guys can still see me. Let me. Okay. So, in reference to just eating and things of that nature, it was just habit. And it took me a minute to realize that I had those habits. Can you see me now? You guys are saying I'm frozen. I'm hoping I'm not. Give me a thumbs up if you can see me or if you can hear me. Let's see. Okay, so let me know if you guys can see me and hear me. Okay, great, great, great. Thank you so much. So I'm sorry, I forgot to turn things off. Like I said, I'm on my iPad, and I'll do better as far as putting it on my computer on the next live. But so one of the things that people struggle with, honestly, is just the habit of eating. And that's a big habit. That's a big struggle. So part of this challenge is being able to break those habits, right? Being able to say, okay, so I know I might have to go cold turkey. That's honestly why I'm going cold turkey. And while I also can say honestly that going cold turkey in reference to long term is not sustainable. So after I get past this 12 weeks, and I'm gonna just tell you, I am going to be Instagram fine. I'm not saying I'm there yet, but I'm real close. After this is over, but that's why I'm actually going cold turkey now, because mine is literally just sugar. Most people's are. I don't do a lot of munching, things of that nature. So what you need to figure out, not even worry about, is within how you eat. What is the thing that you really need to eat? And what is just a habit, right? So once you get past that, it's easy to deal with. So that's kind of in reference to how to break the cravings for sugar. It is not easy. You're going to want it. You're going to be tired the first couple of days. And I will tell you, okay, so when I first started just totally off sugar, it was about 3 days that I struggled to sleep. Matter of fact, I did a video and somebody posted or commented saying my eyes are real red, drink some milk. Take some milk thistle, which is the supplements to help in reference to liver detox and things of that nature. That wasn't it. I could not sleep. You would think because you're exhausted that you can sleep. What happens is, your body might be physically exhausted because there's something going on in your body that is switching your burn from burning the calories that you're taking in to burning the calories that you've already stored. And that is not easy. Okay. So if you can get past, I'm gonna say 6 days, because it usually takes me 6 days. I am at the end of my getting off sugar right now. I'm at the end of it. So I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to get more energy with that. But if you're at the beginnings, you're going to be exhausted. I'm blessed that I'm at the house. I'm working at the house. When I was at an office, because I've done it when I was in the office as well, those first couple of days, you'll get brain fog. I drink coffee to kind of help with that, but drink something, tea, whatever sustains you to kind of get you through that. Because once you get through it, not saying it's going to be easy, but it'll be easier and you'll see the results quicker. Okay, so that's the biggest thing to get off sugar is just to get off. And I don't say that like it's an easy thing because it's not. The first couple of days are hard. Once you get past those first couple of days, it honestly gets easier. I would not lie to you, it actually does. Okay, so the next question I have is how to take time for yourself in the midst of everything, like when you have a busy family, when you have kids, things of that nature. So my daughter's grown, but I'm starting a business. And when I tell you it takes all of my time, I'm actually trying to make these videos so I can help somebody because that is a passion of mine, but also making money is a passion of mine too, and being an entrepreneur. So what I'm gonna tell you is after this video, I'm literally going to put on my tennis shoes and go look at a location that we can do our business. So one of the things in reference to taking time for yourself is find that gap of time within your normal functioning that maybe your family sleep, they're down, whatever the situation is, where you can actually take care of you. For me, it's in the mornings. And I know this does not work for everybody, but my alarm, and I'm at home working, first of all, but my alarm still rings at 4 o'clock in the morning. I get up and go to my gym, my in-house gym, because we're like I said, I think on a previous video, we're like 40 minutes away from any gym that I can go to, and that's different for me. So we made this like makeshift, I don't even know if you can see it. Maybe you can see the weights. But anyway, we make this makeshift in-house gym. So I come in here, I get on my Peloton bike with my headphones on, do my workout, then I do the weights, and I'm good to go. That is my Val time. That is my time when, realtors are not calling me, the franchise is not calling me, my husband still asleep. That is my me time. Now, when I had children, when my daughter was at the house, I would pick my me times when she was either asleep, like when my husband was at the house, I go to the gym. I don't have that access right now because we're so far away, but I go to the gym. Or when she was actually in the house and I was raising her, the gyms used to have daycares. They don't have daycares now, but you can also have, somebody watch your baby while you go and do that time. So I would always find time that would not take away from their individual time, but I would be able to actually get me time. So I'm gonna say, if you're not healthy, you can't take care of your family. At some point, you've got to do something to get yourself on task, get you mentally, physically ready to do what you need to do to take care of your family. For me, 4 o'clock works great. And mind you, I don't even like waking up early in the mornings, but it gives me it allows me to do what I need to do. The few times, and it gets frustrating for me, and again, I don't like waking up early in the mornings, but if I oversleep, or let's say for some reason that alarm didn't go off, I get so frustrated because my day has started and I had no time to work out or no time to take care of me. Yes, I have an in-home gym, right? But in the midst of emails, because I'm thinking I got to send this email to this realtor, I've got to call this bank, I got to do all that stuff. And if you have a family at home, you could think, you might have to deal with homework and kids and husband and all that other stuff, and you don't take time for you. So within what you do during the daytime, you've got to pick a time to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of you can't take care of anybody else. So for me, it's the mornings, but for other people, it might be the evenings. Like when I was going in the mornings, every now and then, it wouldn't be often, that I miss the mornings. I said, well, I don't like going in the daytime because it's really, really crowded at the gym. So I go in the evening times. And the people that were there late in the evenings, I'm talking about late in the evenings. I'm not talking about 5, 6, because that's usually when the crowd is there. But the people that were there late, I'm talking about 9 and 10 o'clock at night, would have the same thought process I had in reference to the morning. They would put their wives, their wife would be resting, or their husband would be resting, or their kids would be down. So they run to the gym to take care of themselves. So I'm saying you got to find that pocket of time. However you find it within, everybody's life is different, but find that pocket of time where it's just you taking care of you, and you will feel so much better. my days go so much better when I actually work out in the morning as opposed to I skip it. So whereas I'm not telling anybody to work out 7 days a week, I work out pretty much 7 days a week because it gets my mind right, it gets my body right. And I'm gonna tell you the great thing about a morning workout for me, if I've already worked out in the morning, I'm not gonna eat junk for breakfast. Because it mentally think I done blew my whole day. I done did this hard workout and I'm gonna blow my whole day eating junk. So for me, if I do the morning workout, then I come home and I eat like I'm supposed to, then everything's good during the day. If I miss it, I'd be like, well, I ain't work out anyway, so it's not hurting anything. I know that's not true, but I'm just telling you my mindset. So you got to kind of figure out what works for you in reference to the workout. And I know morning workouts are not for everybody, but they work for me. So in reference to if you don't have access to a gym, I used to, way back in the day, not have access to a gym. I didn't have weights. I would honestly be at the house running and jogging in place for 20, 30 minutes. Then I do calisthenics, push-ups, pull-ups, those kinds of things. And I can show you different exercises for the people that are new to exercising. I can show you different exercises as we continue on this journey, depending upon what your questions are. But do something. You can do something. You can move something. You can get those calories moving. But with that said, you guys, I want you to know that exercise is not the be all end all. For me, I exercise for the aesthetics of it all. I like the look. I like the shape. I like, having the muscles and the, being curvy and all that other stuff. You can lose weight without exercising. Exercising just accelerates it, but you can lose weight without exercising if your diet's on point. And I need you to understand that. And I'm going to tell you kind of the basics of that. I don't know if everybody knows that, but it takes 3,500 calories to either gain weight or lose weight. Okay? So to lose weight, you will absolutely have to be at a deficit of 3,500 calories. Okay? So when I talk about, and I gave you guys suggestions on what to do in reference to your diet. I put 1,200, and 1,200 is just a very low baseline, right? If you exercise and you're active during the daytime, you can adjust that. So because there's so many people asking me to, in reference to weight loss advice, I would actually have to talk to you almost one-on-one to say this is probably a good number for you. So I gave you a baseline. 1,200 calories is a good baseline. So just think of it this way. Let's say during the daytime, if you're not as active, if you're going through menopause, and I'll talk about the issues with menopause, but if you're going through menopause, if you're older, if you're not as active, you work all day, you come home, you have a sedimentary lifestyle, you might burn. And I'm talking about burn in reference to just walking around, eating, working, going to work, all that stuff. You might burn, let's say 1,700 calories a day. That's period. 1,700 for the whole day. If you are eating, let's say, and this is still low, 2,500 calories a day. You're burning 17, you're eating 25, you're still gradually gaining weight. Okay? It's slower, but it's gradual. If you're burning 17, but you're eating, let's say 1,200. And again, that was just an idea. That's not a recommendation. I'm just giving you a good idea of what you actually can do. But if, let's say, and this is without working out or anything like that, but you're burning, you're losing or burning 1,700 calories a day, just your everyday walking around. No exercise. This is just what I do during the daytime, eating, sleeping, all that. That's how much energy it takes for me just to function. And I am eating 1,200 calories. Then you have a deficit now. You have a deficit of 500 calories per day. It takes 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound. It's simple math. Let's think about that. 3,500 calories. And I'm saying if you add the snacks and all that other stuff you're doing that you're not accounting for and wondering why I'm not losing weight, because you're probably eating more than you're burning. So I gave you a baseline of 1,200, right? So if you think about how that works, if I'm dropping 500 calories, let's say a day per week, you're losing around about 2.5, 3 pounds a week. Now, for everybody, it's different. If you are a larger person, it might take longer for your body or more calories for your body just to do the everyday functions. That's why if you guys have ever watched things like, let me think of a show, My 600-Pound Life, let's say that. If you've ever watched that show and wonder why, let's say the doctor will say, you can lose, 50 pounds in a month, easy. That is because their body is so huge as far as the size, and I'm not knocking anybody. Things happen to everybody. But their body's so big, it takes more energy just to do the everyday functions, to get up and go to the kitchen, to raise your, to eat and all that other stuff. It takes more calories to do that. That's why if the bigger you are initially, the more weight you will initially lose. So if you are a much bigger person, that first week or 2 weeks, you're going to drop more weight quicker. The closer you get to your weight loss or your weight loss goals, the slower your progress will be. However, it's still 3,500 calories per pound. So just think about how that works and what it looks like when you're saying we're dropping 3,500 calories. And I'm not talking water weight, right? I'm talking about the actual weight loss. 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound, 3,500 calories to gain 1 pound. So if you have had, let's say for a holiday, let's say Thanksgiving, because that's a big eating holiday, right? If you have gained 10 pounds, think about how many calories you've taken in over a couple of days to do that. And again, I'm not talking about the water weight. That fluctuates. And I know it's kind of hard to tell. That's why I'm going to tell you in reference to when you actually weigh yourself, kind of how to gauge that. But I'm talking about the actual weight, okay? If you have gained a lot of weight in a short period of time, think about how many calories you've taken in. So I'm going to use me for example because I'm the perfect example of what not to do in reference to things of that nature. Again, I'm a wine drinker. Wine has tons of calories. If I am gaining, I don't know, let's say 10 pounds. If I'm gaining 10 pounds in a week, and I've never gained weight that fast, but let's say I did. But if I'm gaining 10 pounds in a week, can you imagine how much wine I'm drinking to gain that kind of weight? Because again, it's 3,500 calories. But for alcohol that's so high in calories, the same thing with like desserts. I'm a sweets eater, and again, I like wine. The second thing I love is cheesecake. So I saw on a label that cheesecake, this is a little sliver of cheesecake. Oh my God. And I get those big manly size pieces of cheesecake. But I saw a little sliver of cheesecake was 1,300 calories. That's my whole day. Short of, I don't know, maybe a piece of meat or something. That's literally my whole day. And that's not saying you cannot have that as a snack or as a dessert. I'm saying you can't have it every day. And you clearly can't have it when you're on a weight loss journey. So that's kind of what you guys need to think about in reference to what you eat and what you take in. So a good suggestion is that you weigh yourself once a week in the mornings after you relieve yourself at the same time every week. Because what happens in reference to when you start weighing yourself every day, first of all, it's depressing, especially when you stuck to the diet. Because if you have something that, let's say, has more salt on it, you might be holding more water than, or something that's high carbs. You might be holding more water. So a good gauge, rather than every day, is to do yourself at the exact same time in the mornings after you have kind of relieved yourself. You have not eaten right before. So that's a kind of good gauge as to what your weight loss is. As far as if you want to gauge that. I know people gauge pant size, things of that nature, which is fine. But if you just want to get a visual, that is an excellent gauge in reference to your weight loss. And I'm going to tell you, I have a scale. and I think it's called an arm relief scale. That scale will hurt your feelings. Like it'll hurt your feelings so bad. That scale, when I am super fit, I love that scale. I'll sit on that scale and have me listed as an athlete because it measures your body fat and things of that nature, as much as a scale can do. So it measures your body fat, things of that nature. But when I have gained weight, and again, it's when I'm like drinking wine or something like that, I'll step on that scale, and that scale asks twice, am I the same person? Because the time frame has been so short. I'm like, how insulting. That's to me like calling me fat. And it literally will say, like when it gauges your body type, it'll have you listed as fit, or it'll have you listed as skinny fat, or it'll have you listed as obese or extremely overweight. So if you don't have a thick skin, I'm saying don't get the scale. But if you want an accurate assessment of kind of where you are in your progress, that would be the scale to get. So I'm gonna tell you, when I gained weight after COVID, I made the mistake when I finally said, "Well, enough's enough. I can't fit in my pants. This pin is sticking me in my stomach. I'm gonna have to step on the scale." The scale didn't even recognize me. Like it recognized my height and things like that. It did not recognize my weight. I wanted to throw it away. Me and that scale didn't talk for a while. I was through with it. I had to find another friend because that scale was not happy. I mean, we just weren't getting along. So when I got myself together, I stepped back on and then we became friends again. So I just had to finally figure out, is it me? It's not the scale. The scale is non-biased, but it does hurt your feelings. So I'm going to just say, if you guys want those scales, not just that tells your weight, but can kind of accurately as scale can do, adjust your like your body fat and things of that nature. Just get your feelings together, because it is brutal. That scale is brutal. So anyway, it's called the Art Belief. If anybody wants to know, at some point I'll show the scale. It is a great scale. It actually will attach to your phone. But if you gain weight quickly, it will let you know real quick. Clearly, you're not the same person, because you don't gain, I don't know, 10 pounds in 2 weeks, and I don't understand it. Like that scale does stuff like that, which is insulting and whatever. Anyway, that's what it does to me. So just give you an idea. That's a good way to gauge your weight, but just do it same day in the mornings after you've relieved yourself, and you'll get a good idea of where you are in reference to your weight. And just so you know, the reality is that people know when they've overeaten. I know when I've overeaten. I know when I've gained weight. I really don't need a scale to tell me, but I think I step on a scale sometimes because I wanted to say, you cool. It's cool. You fit in those workout plans, you still cool. That scale does not agree with that. But anyway, so in reference to let's talk about when you get older and menopause. And I don't know if there's anybody younger on the call, but I can talk about that too. For some reason, most women don't want to pick up weights. And one of the things that happens when you get older and you get into menopause is that your cortisol levels get higher. Higher cortisol levels, higher stomach fat. You tend to hold it more. Of course, we're slowing down, so our exercise is are lessening. So a lot of women that I see when I was going to the gym, and again, I can't go to the gym right now, they'll get on a cardio machine and stay on that cardio machine 2-3 hours. The problem with that is you're at rest. When your body's at rest, it's still not burning those ongoing extra calories. When you pick up some weights, your body does. It lowers your cortisol levels. It helps in reference to that body fat, that stomach fat that we hold. That's literally why when I actually get my eating together, I can strip down and look like I never gained weight, right? Because I always lift. I've always lifted. It helps me. It aids me in the workouts. It aids me in just everyday functioning. But you have to get some time to pick up weights. And contrary to what people believe, picking up weights will not make you look like a man. People, for some reason, believe, especially women, that if they pick up weights, they're going to all of a sudden get muscular. Tell me this. Why is it there's people that do, and again, I used to compete. So there's people that compete that take extra stuff, okay, just real talk, to gain muscle. What makes you think if you pick up a weight, you're going to all of a sudden have muscle? It doesn't work like that. You can lift as heavy as you want, and you're not going to be this ripped, muscle bound person. What it does is it allows your body to, at your resting point, when you're at rest, you still are burning more energy than if you never lifted. So I must say a good combination is to do some cardio and lift. I don't care if you're lifting is your body weights. If you go to a store or order 5 pound weights, do some lifting, work on your muscles, especially for women, because we get that hanging. And I'm gonna tell you, thank God I don't have that hanging part, but we get that nice hanging skin right here. We get all that other stuff that people struggle with because we are afraid to lift weights, because for some reason we think we're going to be muscle bound. It ain't gonna happen. It is not. Pick up some weights, do some exercises. If you need to know how to do certain exercises, please let me know. I can help you with that. Actually, I would prefer weights than cardio. I just absolutely would, because cardio it takes too long. I still have to do it. It's a necessary evil. But to me, I would rather pick up some weights. That's probably why you see these weights in the background than do cardios. But I actually do both. So I would say a good combination is a split. Do some cardio, then lift some weights. Even if you don't have these weights, again, you can do body weights, you can do push-ups, you can do body squats. There's other things you can do to kind of make that, sustain that muscle, and then give your body protein. I'm talking about good, healthy protein. It doesn't have to be protein you drink. It could be egg whites, fish. If you're a vegetarian, it can be higher vegetable that's higher in protein. So there's certain things you can do that can help you sustain your muscle. And once you sustain your muscle, it is honestly easier to lose weight. It is hard. If you do 2 hours of cardio, first of all, you're going to be burned out. That's not sustainable, whatever. My diet is not sustainable, but what I do know for myself is that after the 12 weeks, I will either ease into a keto kind of diet or ease into a lower carb kind of diet. But because I work out so much, I do have some flexibility to play with what I eat in my calorie intake. When all you do is cardio, what you're burning is what you got right now. After you get off the machine, and I think it's like 30 minutes maybe after you get off the machine, then you're back to your regular workout or your regular burn or whatever your regular normal body, how you consume calories. You're back to that. When you put some weights on it, it sustains longer. It causes you need more calories to keep it going, more calories to sustain those muscles. Part of when you work out is you break down the muscle tissue and then you rebuild. All that is extra calories. So with that said, if you have a higher protein diet, and I put some tips in the description box, and again, these are just tips and suggestions. To be real honest, I don't think there's not one person that could do a blanket diet for everybody. So if you're looking for a blanket diet, you're setting yourself up to fail. So I give tips, and then, if I can talk to you individually or whatever, we can navigate on how to do based on your lifestyle and what needs to happen, how to kind of navigate that. But I just want to kind of give you some ideas on how to start, because some people don't even know how to start, right? So one of the things that, and I'm gonna go through some more of these questions, but one of the things that I get is, I have to have bread. So I'm gonna tell you from a person that loves bread, which is me, but probably has not bought bread myself, other than when I go to a restaurant and they have bread on the table, in about 25 years, is that you don't have to have it. And that's a long time, but, and it may have been longer, but I'm gonna give it 25 on the conservative side, is that you don't have to have it. You can find a way to eat and enjoy what you like and just change it. If you think you can eat the same way and get different results, you are fooling yourself. There's a reason you got here, right? There's a reason you can sustain here, or there's a reason you keep yo-yoing, right? And again, I'm not talking about anybody, because I'm the best at yo-yoing as they come, but mine is wine. I always know that. So it appears I've resolved that I'm going to just have to give up wine. And that makes me a little sad. It really does, because wine makes me giggle, but that's a whole other story. But because of that, I mean, because I can get in the best shape. And again, I'm going for Instagram fine now. I'm just telling y'all. So when y'all see me on Instagram, don't talk about me, because I ain't going to, I told y'all to delete. But anyway, it is one thing to, you have to understand that there's some things you might have to give up. When you get older, what you could do at 20, you can't do at 50. Yes, you can enjoy the foods. You can consistently do it, but you can't absolutely enjoy the foods, right? I give myself, I think it's three holidays where I can eat whatever I want and stay fit. The holidays are Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. I give myself those three holidays. Thanksgiving, I usually always go so over the top, it's ridiculous. So I'm most fit ever when I go into Thanksgiving because I'm going to give myself room to gain 5 pounds. I just absolutely am. But once you plan it, then you're not stressed about losing that 5 pounds, right? It is when you do that every day that it's a problem. So Thanksgiving, I can eat what I want. Christmas, and then of course Easter, I can kind of eat what I want, and then maintain this healthy lifestyle. So if you plan for it, if you do it, let's say on weekends, then you can kind of maintain in reference to eating. So one of the things a couple of people asked me about is what intermittent fasting. So the problem with that, and first of all, I like it. You can sustain it. I'm not one, and once I start eating, I want to eat. And I can eat healthy all day, but I still want to eat. So the issue with intermittent fasting, and it does work. So for those of you that have done it, it does work. The issue with most people is that when they get off, when they have that window of time to eat, and I don't know if everybody knows what intermittent fasting is, but let's say I'm eating within I'm gonna say generous 8 hour window. And then the other hours, the other 16 hours, I'm not eating anything. That's intermittent fasting. Or if I'm doing a 4 hour window to eat, then the other 12 hours or whatever, 20 hours or whatever, I'm not eating anything. So the problem that people have is, yes, they'll do that, they'll do the eating, right? But when they do that eating, they eat so above and beyond their caloric intake. And again, I'm gonna go back to 1 pound. If you get this, then this call would have been successful. 1 pound is 3,500 calories. Period, exclamation point, no matter how you put it, 1 pound is 3,500 calories. So if during that time of eating, let's say I'm bringing in, let's say 8,000 calories. And I promise you, it's as high as that seems, that's not a high number depending upon what you're eating, okay? Or let's say generous, let's say 6,000 calories during that time. But then you go this other period of time where you're not eating, but then you come back and you're still back at that same 6,000 calories. You're not losing anything. You're really not. You're getting frustrated because you got all these hours where you're not eating, but you're not losing anything. So intermittent fasting works if you can control your eating through that eating window. Because if you're still only burning, let's say 1,700 calories a day, or 1,800, depending. Let's say you're active. Let's say 2,500 calories a day, but you're eating, close to 6,000 calories. You're still not doing enough, or you're not losing enough for that intermittent diet to work. So if you're going to do the intermittent fasting, which does work and has some extreme benefits, and I can talk to you about just putting your body in a state of atrophy. Which is actually your body eating itself. And it sounds kind of graphic, but it's actually eating the body fat and, the cells and all that other stuff. So I can talk about the periods of time you can put your body in a state of atrophy so you can actually have those breaks in eating, and it will benefit. But it's when you actually eat, you still have to eat normal, right? You don't have to necessarily eat diet but you still have to eat normal. And if you eat more than your body is burning, you're still gaining the weight. So that's the issue. So all of the diets, no matter what, you choose to do, will really depend upon what you're bringing in and how many calories you're actually using. So I just need you to think about that in reference to the next call, and give me ideas of specifically what you want to talk about in reference to the next call. And hopefully I have my computer up so I can see you guys' comments. I see tons of comments coming in, and a lot of them I can't address because I'm on this little iPad and I'm old and my eyes are just not letting me see all that. So okay, so the thing in reference to, I've already talked about this in reference to the belly fat. A lot of the belly fat has to do with sugar. you're eating too much sugar. And again, it's not, when people think of sugar, they think of desserts and things of that nature. I'm talking about carbs. Carbs turn to sugar, sugar turn to fat. That is, if you get that in your head, and my daughter can kind of quote it off: carbs turn to sugar, sugar turn to fat. Carbs turn to sugar, sugar turn to fat. She's very slender. If you've ever seen her, if you get that in your head, you know why you're sustaining that stomach. You know why, when you, depending upon what you're taking in, why it's coming at that stomach. You just have to really work on how, what you're actually taking in your body. So that is, you can't spot reduce. I don't care what anybody says. I had a friend that literally would do almost 1,000 crunches a day. And I would look at her, and bless her heart, I told her many, many times what she needed to do, and she still did almost 1,000 crunches a day, and she looked the exact same size. The problem is she did not deal with the diet, right? She didn't deal with the diet. She didn't deal with the, in reference to picking up weights, things of that nature. So she thought she could kind of, I can, do these crunches. She might have had a full pack, a full 6-pack under her belly fat, and you couldn't see it. She might have had that. So that's the thing. If you got a layer of belly fat, you still can't see that 6-pack. So you're going to have to deal with the fat. So if you guys try to spot reduce, I'm going to tell you it's impossible. Fat falls where it falls. It is what it is. That's why when you gain weight, it doesn't necessarily go to one area. Yes, there's some genetics involved. If you have bigger hips, it might sit there. But a lot of, fat just goes where it distributes, right? And you can't spot reduce fat. So that's kind of how we gain weight and how we struggle with that. So the biggest part of this call I want you to get is, if you 3,500 calories to gain weight, 3,500 calories to lose weight. Really evaluate what you are putting in your mouth. If you have to snack during the daytimes, then what I'm going to tell you is then you need to break down what you are eating when you're not snacking, because it's still, you need to be at a deficit to lose the weight. In reference to if you have kids, and my husband doesn't have this issue in reference to eating. He can eat tons of stuff, and I'm gonna tell you, it pisses me off. He can eat tons of stuff and be the same size. So I have to buy him things that I don't necessarily like, or it's not a craving of mine, and he likes. So in reference to the kids, I would buy stuff that my daughter loves, but I was not crazy about, right? So I would buy, so that's the same thing I do with him. In reference to having younger children in the home, I would do the same thing. I would really work on, yes, you don't want to make them feel like they're on a diet because you're on a diet, but buy things that you're not as drawn to. And some of this will take willpower, which is the hardest part of eating. It is getting your mind right. It does not matter what people say in reference to diet. If your mind is not there, you will not sustain. It just won't. Yes, you can eat less for a little period of time, and then something will happen, and then you'll go back to the normal eating. So you've got to understand, once you understand what it takes to actually gain the calories or gain the weight, you can understand what it takes to lose the weight. So I guess kind of homework, if there's such a thing, is kind of follow this week what you're actually taking in as far as calories. And then you'll get an idea of what you're actually burning. So I don't know if you have like those watches. They kind of give you an idea of how many calories you burn during the daytime. So you can kind of follow how many calories you're losing. Because different people, it's different. It might be that my heart rate stays a little bit higher than yours. So I might burn a few more calories than you do necessarily. So you need to kind of track that. And then you get an idea of what you should be losing during the daytime, right? So if you're, let's say if you have a slower lifestyle and you burn 1,500 calories, but you're also taking in 1,500 calories, you're going to probably stay the same. Well, not probably, you're going to stay the same. The only thing that may come up and down in reference to that might be if you have salt in your diet, a lot of sodium. If at the time you've taken in a lot of carbs, let's say for the day, and the carbs hold on to water periodically. So those kind of things might fluctuate. But if you can actually kind of gauge what you're doing during the daytime, or how many calories you take, you know how to deal with your diet. So that's kind of all I have in reference to this particular call. I just wanted to get on here to be able to kind of talk to you guys about it, and then kind of during the week be able to kind of do some back and forth on what your issues are, so I can know what to talk about in reference to the next call, in reference to specific exercises that will help you. Let me know that. But the biggest takeaway should be from this call is knowing how much you take actually in as far as your calories. Most people don't. Most people don't. And I'm gonna tell you, I didn't when I used to eat cashews all the time. And cashews are very healthy, so I'm not knocking them. But what I did not know is how many calories I was taking in, right? So I was like, well, I eat dinner, but then I eat these cashews as a snack. So I would have these really healthy dinners, really healthy. And then I take in 900 calories of cashews, which is not a whole lot. And I did not know that. I mean, I do it a couple times a day, not in one sitting, but I would actually do that. So once I put that together and kind of clicked to what was going on, then the weight came off. So I think the biggest thing is just being aware of what you take in on a daily basis. Because even with menopause, and yes, things slow down, right? So again, all that extra stuff you used to be able to eat at 22, you can't eat at 52. But you can eat a lot of foods you like. You just have to know what your body is burning and not give it all those extra carbs that's going to turn into fat, because our cortisol levels are higher, right? So we need to get them lower, which means we don't need to do all that extra stressing. We need to pick up some weights. We need to do all those extra things. And it's not so much. So it's just being able to know where you are and how to gauge it. So that's kind of what I have. I'm going to quickly see if there's anything I have not answered in this call, because I'm trying to make these calls, at least less than an hour. Like I said, I have to go and look at two restaurants in reference to two locations, in reference to restaurants that me and my husband are looking at. But I will get back on the call for next week. I will tell you in reference to next week real quick while you guys are on the call, and I'll put a reminder. My daughter's baby shower's next Saturday, so I won't do the 10 o'clock Saturday. So I'll either do Friday evening or I will do at some time on Sunday. So I'll kind of put it, get kind of ideas in reference to that, and I'll videotape it and post it if y'all want to kind of look at that. But just kind of let me know what works. There's only 2 of the 12 weeks that I will not be able to do the lives on Saturday at 10 o'clock. And again, that's one of them is next week, and the other one is, I think, that week after next, where I'm meeting my sorority sisters after 35 years. So that's kind of all I have, you guys. If you have any questions, absolutely let me know. If there's anything I didn't cover, let me know. Or if you need me to do something different, if you came for, workout tips or things of that nature. But the biggest thing is, even if you work out, you're only burning, let's say 500, 600, 700 calories a day, okay, with just the workout. Add that to your daily, and still you can gauge how much you should actually lose. The biggest thing is the eating. You really cannot work out bad eating habits. You got to deal with the eating, even if it's not fun. So that's kind of all I have. Thank you guys so much for being on the call. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Leave them in the description box once I post this video. Again, I will put another questionnaire up as to when you want the next live. And if you want something different as far as workouts and things of that nature, let me know. But thank you guys so much for being on the call, and I will see you on the next one.